It's Will Sean Podcast. The internet cried out for two more blowhards, and they courageously answered that call. Armed with the weapon of wit, each week they're joined by guests to discuss movies, television, pop culture, and anything else that's pissing them off. Take it away, boys.
I'm Will Link.
And I'm Sean David.
And this is Will Sean Podcast.
Happy birthday, Mom. Pretty sure you're not listening. How you doing, Will?
So I've been waging war.
Have you now?
In my apartment.
You didn't enlist.
No.
Okay.
I'm not enlisting.
You get the war at home.
Ants.
Yeah? In your pants?
I come home the other night. My bathroom is filled with ants. And this doesn't make any sense because it's been cold. And the ants...
But it's been rainy.
They were covering the wall.
Okay.
Like it was insane. So I came in like a maniac. And it was like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I came in like a maniac. I'm killing ants.
Last thing you want to be doing.
Yeah, and I'm like, And then I kill a bunch of ants.
Yeah.
Then I go in the other room. I come back, more ants have come out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need this. I can't do this all night.
Yeah.
So I got in my car. I drove to CVS. I said, give me your most powerful poison.
Something that will kill me along with the ants.
Yes, and I'll be honest with you. I was like, I may have inhaled too much of this stuff. I sprayed the bathroom like I never sprayed before, and I saw there were cracks in the wall. The next day, I got caulk.
Yeah.
I caulked the cracks.
Hold on, I gotta write that down. Okay, continue.
And, so far, but I still keep seeing straggling ants.
Those are the survivors. Those are the ones that are going to father the next generation of super ants that care not for your sprays and your cocks.
I don't know what I'm going to do. If these ants keep coming back, is what
gotta kill yourself.
I might
What else are you going to do?
I might burn the apartment down.
That's it. I think that is a sound, logical response.
So what is going on in the world of Will Sean Podcast?
The same. Next week we have on Stephen Brandon, so just want to remind you, tickets are now available for Game of Thrones the musical.
I can't wait for Game of Thrones the musical.
You can pick those up. Go ahead and subscribe to our show. Make sure you're doing that on iTunes. Make sure you're following us on Twitter and liking us on Facebook.
Let's give a few shout-outs to some of our...
former guests.
And I was about to say sister podcast, but I don't even know if that's true.
Which one? The two cuffs?
Off the Cuffs.
Yeah. They're doing well.
Hosted by Dick Wound and Minimus Maximus.
Well, they're far sexier than we are, so apparently they are more successful than we are.
It's your premier BDSM podcast.
Your premier Long Island BDSM podcast.
And also Drunk Monkeys over at Drunk Monkeys Radio.
How they doing?
They're doing well.
All right.
I assume. I've been listening to them.
Okay.
I listened to their top 10 movies of the year and desperately wanted to be in the conversation.
But you will be in the conversation soon.
Because I'm going to be doing a show with them soon. So
Sounds
it'll
good.
Be fun. And who is our sponsor this week?
Silence. A new film. By Martin. Score. Sazy.
Rated R. Did you you really enjoyed Silence?
I'm almost finished with the book. It's phenomenal.
Oh my god!
Because of course I would be.
Of course you are. I am not as hot on the movie, and I love Scorsese.
I feel like the movie was released at the wrong time of year. I think if it had come out earlier, it may have gotten a different reception.
It's a good summer movie.
Yeah.
Big summer movie. Jesuit priests, will they apostate?
Well, you don't know.
Yeah.
That Andrew Garfield, by the way, he had a rough year. A lot of violence and faith. That was his year.
On the show today, speaking of movies that it's always the right time of year for, Star Wars. We've got the new title, so let's make wild speculations about the new film because, what's the alternative? Talk about Trump more? We can't do that. A Dog's Purpose is a new film.
That's about Trump.
It's about Donald Trump. Dog's Purpose. Watch dogs die over and over again.
It's a dog snuff film, as Slate called it.
But were those dogs abused on set? We will discuss. And the great Mary Tyler Moore died. And upon her death, I realized some things about some people in society that I did not care for.
You're going to be really mad at me then.
We will discuss, but first, we're very excited to have with us. He's a terrific actor. Why didn't I double check that I'm going to say his last name right? Ravi Naidu?
Not even close.
Naidu?
Naidu. It's close.
I meant to double check.
Like Bill Naidu, the science dude?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Somewhere, as Sean was saying, how you doing, Will? I looked down, I'm like, I forgot to ask him.
It's not a Bill Smith, I'm fucked.
Well, Ravi, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for being the very first person to ever mispronounce my name.
Oh, no.
Well, so Ravi told me while you were in the bathroom that he's been on auditions where people have just taken phone calls and eaten lunch. So I guess that gives me permission to just like dick around while you guys are talking.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Just to make you comfortable and have you do your best work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just put me in my natural habitat.
So, Ravi, we always like to start with the guest's origin story.
Oh.
Where are you from originally?
Originally India, but I was born in Atlanta. So my family is from India. South India.
And you're
Tamil?
Telugu,
Okay.
which is the state just above.
Okay. So like mid-India? Like mid-subcontinent?
It's really south of mid.
Okay.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the first in like your generation.
First
to be born
generation.
here.
My brother and I are first generation.
Nice.
Yeah.
And where did you say again? Atlanta.
Atlanta.
So what was it like growing up in Atlanta?
Knowing what I know now is very strange because it was very white and very southern and very Christian.
Were you like in Atlanta proper or like a suburb outside of the city?
No, we were actually, Atlanta's always had this urban sprawl issue.
Like there's no like center, there's no like downtown area to Atlanta. The city
There
just
is.
kind of.
We have a downtown, but it's like LA. Like
Yeah.
Atlanta, the Atlanta metropolitan area is a
Right.
large geographic area. We were within the Atlanta metropolitan area. We were only about 10 minutes from downtown.
Okay.
So by
So-
like Peachtree?
Oh, we were of course by a peach tree at least, by like 5 or 6.
So, you said it's very white, very Christian where you were. So, I mean, but you didn't notice that when you were a kid? Like,
No.
it didn't stand out? Okay.
I didn't know. Like, it didn't occur to me. It didn't dawn on me until like I saw places outside of Atlanta that like there were so many other types of people. I mean, I grew up with white people, black people, and my family, and that was it.
But I guess that's good, though, as a kid that you like, oh, well, nothing seems like I don't seem like I'm sticking out.
Well, okay. I always felt like I stuck out.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's...
Yeah.
What he was saying, he was the only Indian, him and his
Well,
brother.
that's why I was taking what he said about, like,
Yeah.
I didn't notice. But maybe
Here's what I meant, though. Here's what I meant.
I meant all those people were racist.
I've always felt like I stuck out. What I didn't understand was why there was all this tension about skin color. Like I didn't get that from a young age. Like I just didn't understand it. Like and I would hear so many different people making comments and saying things, and yeah, I was the object of or the target sometimes. But it's just. Like, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Like, where does it fucking come from? Like, how is someone born with this innate feeling? Like, my skin color is this and your skin color is that. So naturally, I am better than you, or you are worse than me. I just that never occurred to me.
Okay, so there's those two things. There's the value judgment of better or worse, but there's the ingrained. I mean, you recognize that person just doesn't look like me. That doesn't put a value judgment on it. But
right.
But that doesn't mean that they're better or worse. But like, okay, that person is different from me. And I'm different from them. Like, if through their eyes, I'm different from them. But that's purely superficial.
And I think it goes back to, like, I don't think that most of us are taught to appreciate differences. Instead, I think we're kind of naturally taught, most normal people, I'll use the word normal not in a good sense, but just in a literal sense. Normal people seem to be taught, and this is a global thing that I've been noticing, that different is to be called out as in, like, not good.
Well, that's how you protect the society. So you protect the culture. That's how you draw the lines up and say, what we do is right and proper, and what they do, those people.
Yeah, but that one thing, that one little teaching If that one thing changes, how much changes? Like,
Well, then Springfield and Shelbyville would live in harmony. It's Pawnee and Eagleton. It's not even a race thing. It's just like,
I don't know about Pawnee.
Those Eagleton people are pretty fucking
motherfuckers.
They are motherfuckers.
Well, now that we solved race in America,
We always, we've done that many times. We've solved race in America.
Oh, good.
And that's why-
Megan has solved race in America multiple times with us.
But no, to answer your question, yes, I've literally always felt like an outcast no matter where I've been. So growing up, if I was in school, which was predominantly white, I totally felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb. Even if I was getting positive attention, I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb. And then with Indians, I felt like I stuck out because I was born in America, and I just desperately, growing up, I desperately wanted to be a white kid.
were you? I mean, like you said, you're first generation, but how were you with like your culture and so like the Indian culture? Was that something that you were interested in?
No, not growing up. Only now. It's only been the past 10, 12, 15 years that I've really leaned into my own
This
culture.
shit's kind of cool.
Very.
Well, you know, the same thing goes with my best friend growing up.
Yeah.
Was Indian, and I'm not going to speak for how interested he is or not because he's kind of a private person anyway.
Yeah.
But it always to me seemed like, oh, he didn't have that much interest, and now later in life, and now he's got a family and stuff. I think like. I remember he went to India as a kid and was not happy about it. But I know he's gone later in life, and I guess,
Re-embraced it.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever, like, fully... Now I'm saying...
Well, it's good. Speak for him.
I'm not going to speak for him. I'm going to shut up now.
Well,
but
I won't
think
speak for him, but
Okay.
I will say that I think my experience is probably somewhat in line with his because growing up, I so desperately wanted to fit in with somebody, and it just seemed like, when I hung out with Indians, they were all so different from, and that was only on the weekends occasionally, right? They were all so different from who I was spending time with the other 6 days of the week. And so I just wanted to be like them, and they seemed to feel like awkward around my Indianness, so I was awkward around others' Indianness, which is super weird. Like I went native in the opposite way or something.
So let's get to the acting now. So when did you discover you wanted to act? When was that something? And did this have this kind of feeling like an outsider? Was this like kind of something you get involved with, or was this a good outlet to try to be not the outsider, or was it a doubling down of the outsiderness?
I don't know. That's interesting that you bring that up. I gotta maybe something about that will click with me. But I mean, what happened was I never dreamed of being an actor when I was a kid or anything. I mean, I love movies and TV shows and stuff, and I watched way more than I read, which I regret now. But I went to Georgia Tech, which is an engineering school. I became a business consultant. I did that for 17 years.
Oh wow.
I used to be married, and I came home from work one day. I was working at IBM at the time, and I came home from work one day, and my ex-wife, my wife at the time, said she wanted to be an actor, kind of out of the blue. And I was like, okay, because I think that's what you say when you're married. Okay, let's figure out how to make that happen. And I needed a little outlet from I felt like I had been complaining for a while that I felt like part of my brain was shutting down or was just atrophying because I just felt like I was just so analytical all the time with my work and everything.
Just spreadsheets and presentations.
Yeah, I love some spreadsheets, man. Still. And so I started taking acting classes with her in Atlanta. This was back in 2009, 2010. And then I started liking the acting classes. Yeah. And acting, there was a lot of opportunities coming up in Atlanta back then. Not like it is now, but it was coming up. Yeah. And so she got an agent, and they met me one night. We were out at an event. They met me, and they were like, "Hey, if you want to do this if you want to do this more seriously, let us know." And I was like, "Okay, let's try it." But the real turning point for me was in 2010, I did a 90-day silent meditation program in Tennessee. Okay. There's an ashram in Tennessee. Yeah. And I just kind of evaluated how things had been up to that point and how I wanted, I was doing like a 20-year outlook, you know?
Yeah.
How do I want the next 20? How do these past 20 years look, and how do I want the next 20 years to look? And just nothing about staying in corporate America really like resonated with me at all. In Silence. And then I was like, well, what about this
Like
acting
Martin Scorsese.
thing? Yeah, exactly. By the way, I did not like that film. And
Discuss
I
later.
don't think it's a timing thing. But anyway. Sorry. And then just in Silence, I started thinking about this acting thing. And like, it's just percolating. And it was very exciting. So I was like, all right, when I get out of this thing.
How many more days? That was on day 1 at around 4 p.m. You're like, shit, what did I sign up for?
Exactly. God.
Can I check my Twitter?
And then you kind of when you left that, so you just kind of threw yourself into acting.
Yeah. When I got out of there, I met with that agency in Atlanta, and I was like, look, I'm going to be serious about this. Let's do it.
Let me be zombie number 12 on The Walking Dead.
Absolutely, whatever it takes. And then my marriage fell apart, and to avoid having to, obsess about that, I threw myself into 4 acting classes a week in Atlanta while I was working full time.
Wow.
So I had no time to do anything, and I was just getting more and more and more into it. And then I started booking a few things in Atlanta.
What was the first big thing you booked? What was the first thing
G.I.
that you...
Joe.
Really?
Yeah, Retaliation. G.I. Joe.
Nice.
G.I. Joe Retaliation was the first movie, and Homeland was the first show I ever booked.
Okay.
Was Retaliation, was that the one that killed off Channing Tatum?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see the G.I. Joe
I didn't see either
movies.
one of them, but-
But now knowing that you're in one of them, I'm going to go
You just
back
gonna watch
and
the
watch
sequel?
it.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, and so
We'll sit here and wait while you enjoy the G.I. Joe duology.
And so when what happened with that movie was they were going to release it opposite Spider-Man, the same week as Spider-Man.
Okay.
And in
Starring
the
Andrew
original,
Garfield. Silence is Andrew Garfield.
Exactly. Silence is Andrew Garfield, who apparently has had a tough year, you guys are saying. And so the original cut of the movie, I was the first actor that you see on screen in the movie.
Really?
My first movie ever, I was going to be the first guy, and the movie tested poorly. And then the studio was like, you know what? We don't want to butt up against Spider-Man this year, so we're going to pull it. We're going to reshoot a whole bunch. We're going to take the timeline and shoot it forward 2 years and scrap them. So I ended up a deleted scene, which I'm still on DVD, but I'm a deleted scene now.
You would have been the first scene of it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, dude, I was like the first actor that came out onto, I was like, oh man, I've made it. But
And you also said you booked a Homeland early on.
yeah, that was incredible. I got to be on that show. It was like episode 2 of the first season.
Oh, wow. When everybody was
I saw that one when everyone was still onto the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you do on that one?
I was a sketchy jewelry broker.
Okay.
Do you guys follow the show?
I watched the first season and then I said, "Y'all realize this is not a good show, right?" And everyone's like, "No, this is great." I'm like, "No, it's really not." And then people just are still convincing themselves that it's a good show. They're like 7 years in. It's this massive sunk cost. No one wants to bail.
It's got quite a following.
Yeah.
It's got quite a following.
And you've done a lot of stuff since then. I mean, I was looking at things you've popped up in. Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You were in that new Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So do you have any stories from the set?
Yeah. God,
No comment.
Set. Nah, it was cool. Everybody was cool. I mean,
You and Josh Trank and the Seven Dogs. It was all
He's
good.
very cool. Josh Trank is very cool.
Okay,
He
there you
really
go.
he's super passionate about his work, man. He's
I'm
a lot
sure.
of fun to work with.
Can't wait to see the Burger King commercials he starts doing in about 2 years.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man. Poor guy.
You were in $1 Million Arm.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
With
John
John
Hamm.
Jonathan Hamm.
Yeah.
Did you work with John Hamm? Did you have any John Hamm scenes?
I didn't get to work with John Hamm because I was a reporter, but I got to work with the 2 cricket players who the movie's about.
Yeah.
Super nice guys. And I got to hang out with Bill Paxton for 45 minutes and just shooting the shit.
Nice.
Oh, man, he's a great guy.
He seems like he'd be a good guy.
He's a great guy. He actually hooked me up with his acting coach, whose name is Vincent Chase, the same Vincent Chase that they used the name for on Entourage.
Really?
The name Vincent Chase in Entourage was based upon the acting coach Vincent Chase.
Nice.
How does that Vincent Chase feel about that?
Not well at all because he didn't get paid dick for
No,
it.
he did.
And you're on the Mindy Project as well.
Yeah, God, really nice people there.
When were you on that? In the Hulu years or the Fox years?
Nope, Fox years.
Oh, then I saw it.
It was 2014. Wait a minute. Yeah. November 2014 was when it
Because
dropped.
When Mindy does something embarrassing.
I stopped watching.
To her boyfriend, Chris Messina.
I stopped watching when it went to Hulu just because I didn't have Hulu, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I like this show. I don't like it enough that I'm going to buy Hulu to keep watching it.
I actually think it's better now that it's on Hulu. They have more freedom to they're not
Yeah,
network.
49-minute episodes.
If I had Hulu, I'd be watching it.
It's a
But
good
I
show.
was
It's a great
like, I
show.
got Amazon Prime, I got Netflix, I got HBO.
enough. I understand.
It's like, what more can I
You don't
do?
have Crackle? Come on, it's one of the best comedies. What is CISO?
CISO,
No
yeah.
Crackle and
Pop
CISO.
TV.
Yeah. What about the PlayStation television network?
Oh God, that's right.
Recently you are on NCIS. You're in Almost Christmas, and you are on Jane the Virgin, all playing doctors.
Oh, playing doctors. Yeah.
Or do you?
Let's talk about
Last year
stereotyping.
was like the year of the doctor.
Let's talk about
for me.
stereotyping in Hollywood.
Oh my God.
I mean, is that something that? I mean, I don't know if this is an.
Okay, let's
obvious
ask when
question.
they're.
Yeah.
What does the casting notice look like when they need the doctor for the one scene in the show?
Doctor, age range, typically it'll say 30 to 40. And then they're so they got to be politically correct with us. It'll say any ethnicity.
Yeah.
Which is just basically an open door for, this means we can see whoever we want to,
Yeah.
regardless of what this says, right? Because there are so many any ethnicities, which
Yeah.
just means, hey, we'll also see some black people for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a crazy.
Yeah.
But is there like? I mean, I loved Master of None. And there's
great
that
show.
great episode where they get into because they're
Yeah.
actors on the show and
Yeah.
stuff like that
Yeah.
where they get into like the stereotyping.
Yeah, where he
and-
refuses to use the accent.
Yeah,
Well, that
yeah.
whole episode, the end, the button on that whole episode goes, "Is Mindy Kaling real?" Yeah. And that episode was amazing.
I mean,
television.
I guess I have to ask how true to that is like.
On point. It's right
Okay.
on point. Yeah, it's right on point. Although I don't know how they are in New York. I've never auditioned in New
Yeah.
York or worked up there, but in LA they're very sensitive about it. They're very like casting directors here, I will say, are always like very, very sensitive about the fact that they're like, yeah, if you wouldn't mind doing the accent, it'd be great. It's not like
Yeah.
I feel like in New York it's a different situation where it's just like, okay, do the accent.
well, because
now,
also
right?
there, I mean, is it for roles? I think one of the things he pointed out was like the cabbie role, would
Yeah.
be like a standard where they'd want the accent. But are there like LA-based projects don't rely on cabbies as much as something that would be New York-based?
No, I don't
You don't
think-
have a lot of bodegas
Yeah.
here in LA that are like the same. It would be
Yeah.
like a Hispanic guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but I shot Curb just before the end of the year. It's
Really?
coming back. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I shot
Okay.
season 9. I think I'm in episode 102. I think it's 902. And so, I can't say anything. I can't tell you.
okay, so
I can't tell you.
all
what I
right. So
did.
we have to have you back, but so we know to look forward for that you are.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be
Okay,
great.
so just general question. Even as it does every role on the show have the same structure where here's what happens in the scene and then improv, regardless of how big or small your role is in the episode?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know about. I think that's how the show.
Okay.
I think that's how they operate the
That's
show.
what I've always heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and I feel like when you watch it, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
And let me
They're
just.
riffing.
Okay, I know you can't talk about the show, but you work with Larry then.
I don't know if I can say or not.
Oh,
I really don't know.
Offline.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh man!
But I will
cannot
say,
wait.
that it was a freaking thrill to be on the show. I'm super pumped that it's back. I'm a
One of
big
my
fan.
all-time favorites.
I'm a big fan of the show.
Yeah.
Big fan of his. It's. I think it came out really well. Like,
Okay.
Did
now
it
we're-
come
and
out?
I rarely say that about my own work.
Did it come out pretty good?
All right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye open for that since you're stonewalling us over here.
These are some great credits, but we also want to talk about your lights camera audition.
Yes, my taping service.
Yeah, you run a self-taping demo reel service.
Yes.
What is that?
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, what I do is basically I set up an audition studio at the house, and I set up the lights and the cameras, and we've got like pro sound and everything. So I've got it all set up to where when actors need to put themselves on tape and self-submit an audition instead of going into the audition room itself, they just come to me. I've been doing it for 6 years. I started back in Atlanta.
So you're basically giving them a space to like come do it here, so it's not just
because you hear stories
in,
of
like,
actors like, I had to take this audition in the bathroom in a hotel in London, and on my iPhone.
And I've sat with casting directors who've shown me just the shit show that they get in of just like crappy.
So do casting
quality.
directors that you sat with, do they appreciate this kind of
100%.
Yeah.
Because here's all it does. All I'm doing is, not all I'm doing, but what I'm doing is I'm taking care of all the technical aspects as if the actor was actually on set shooting, right? Because they've got professional people, lighting, they got professional sound guys and all that stuff, taking care of all that stuff so that when somebody is watching the actor on screen or on the TV, they're not distracted by any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't even notice those things, right? Well, same thing in an audition, right? If a casting director or a producer or director is watching an actor's audition, they shouldn't be distracted by shitty lighting or crappy sound or any of that stuff. Because the fact of the matter is you got about 15 to 20 seconds max to make a good impression. Really 5 to 10. But if in that 5 to 10 seconds there's something distracting about that, they're going to move on.
This is actually I think this is a great service because I have driven around with a friend of mine who he had to take and he was out buying lights because he was so paranoid, and he obviously still couldn't get everything right, and he's so stressed. I've seen a very good friend of mine, friend of the show, get so stressed about is that it would be so much better if there was just some
pay some money, just show up and just do the work, and not worry about the rest of it.
Yeah. And LA's got a bunch of services like that. The thing that I noticed was they charge a lot of money, so I just charged like a real reasonable amount.
Like a real consultant.
Yeah.
You went in, you found the marketplace, you investigated the competition.
Why would somebody pay $75 for it? I mean, if you're auditioning a lot.
How long is typical
30
when
minutes.
they come in? Yeah.
Under 30 minutes usually.
And you just get it all set up, you fire it up, get the camera going, and here you go.
Before they walk in, I've got it all set up. So, the two nice things about it is it's a really comfortable and safe environment, right? Like, so it's like a casting office, but like a casting
with
office
no couch.
that you love going to. Yeah. Well, I got a couch.
Now, okay, so let's say this actor friend of mine, like I'm talking to him, and he's like, I got to put this thing on tape. I can't. I don't like. Is this? I mean, is it literally like
call this guy, he'll take care of you?
Yeah, call Ravi. And
Ravi the Wolf.
Like, are you doing this?
Mr. Wolf.
Are you kind of doing this though? Like almost not 24/7, but like kind of like someone can come in very like a last minute.
It's all on call.
Well, yeah, because I guess these people don't realize they have to maybe put something on tape until the last minute anyway.
I get stuff last minute all the time. Last minute.
All right, so any listeners of ours who are actors.
And then there are actors who try to do it themselves. And they figure out that they can't do it, and then they've literally gotten down to the last minute, and then
and that's how you end up with an electrocuted jacuzzi.
Yeah.
And then that was for people who were with us before we started recording.
Those were the folks at the Labor Day party.
But but that actually really is, because also I could, like I said, I saw my friend getting stressed out about the whole process. Then you're bringing that baggage
into
the audition.
Yeah, exactly.
This is great. Yeah. So I think you were about to say any
actors, anyone who just. So where can people find out more if they want to about the service, about you?
The website is lcaudition.com, which stands for Lights Camera Audition.com. And we've got a Facebook page. If you just go to Facebook and type in Lights Camera Audition, it'll come up.
And as long as you don't mind driving out to Silmar, Ravi will take care of you at the last minute.
Now, it's nestled comfortably in the North Hollywood area.
Yeah, right next to the Arts District. It's super convenient.
And right before we move on, also, you've gotten into my world a little bit. You've been doing some storytelling.
Yeah.
You did the show Hate Date.
I have you guys to thank for that.
Yeah, there you go. You did the show Hate Date.
Great show.
Which is a lot of fun.
Oh, man, yeah.
And you're going to be doing some more shows coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to do Two Truths over at Angel City Brewery.
Okay.
And let's see, there's Bada Bing Bada Bang, I think is the other one. Okay. Bada Bing Bada Boom. Bada Bing Bada Boom. Yeah. That's what it is.
A night of Italian debauchery.
Yeah. Joey Buttafuoco. That one is Chris, I forget Chris's last name. But that one's coming up. And then Megan Hayes and Oscar's new show, Tales from Tinseltown.
I'll be doing that one as well, though I don't think I'm doing it until April.
Mark my calendar.
When are you doing it?
Hopefully in April, either March or April.
wait till April.
I'll do it
and
in
then
April.
we'll do
Sorry,
That'd be
Megan.
great.
Come
That'd be
ditch it out
great.
of your March show. Find someone new. Will and I are doing April.
I was gonna do March, but I have it's a very busy week that week. So
Well, then I'll ask. Since the host is my roommate, I will ask her if I can do April.
and you've already said lcaudition.com.
Yeah.
But where else can people find out about you?
Oh, my website is ravinaiduactor.com. And I'm on Instagram, Ravi Naidu Actor, and Twitter, Ravi Naidu Actor. Although, lately, all that stuff's been really political.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I don't know.
Well, let's get to something really controversial.
Yes.
Star Wars.
Episode V111.
Are you a big Star Wars person?
I'm a big fan, but I cannot categorize myself as a bona fide, qualified geek of the series. I just love the movie.
So you're not like ride or die for Attack of the Clones?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. And
You got a Jar Jar Binks tattoo on your ass?
I don't mind Jar Jar Binks. I really don't. I know everybody hates Jar Jar. And the other thing is I'm one of the few people that did not hate Phantom Menace. I didn't hate Phantom Menace.
You know what? Here's the thing. I don't think I hate
No.
any of them.
Oh, I did hate
Attack of the Clones?
yeah, the third one.
I actually.
Oh, Revenge of the Sith.
I actually,
think that's pretty good.
I think Attack of the Clones is actually the best movie he's ever made.
Wait, what?
No, sorry.
Oh.
Other than Star Wars, I think it's the best, like, Attack of the Clones is it's secretly a fascinating movie.
What? That's the worst
Also,
one.
it's one of John Williams' best scores.
Attack of the Clones is the worst one. 'Cause
Nah.
This is a weird middle one of this new trilogy. It doesn't quite work. You got this awful Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman
Yeah,
romance.
that's what makes it genius.
That doesn't work. How is it? What are you nuts?
Yeah.
It was
Secret genius
It was
movie.
like the non-Star Wars movie.
But I
you
don't
know?
hate the movie. I just think it's kind of a shitty movie that I kind of like. You know, it's like Star Wars.
It's like Escape from New York.
But Star Wars is the same way they say about pizza and sex. It's like even when it's bad, it's still kind of good. Like I still enjoy it.
That's well
You know,
put.
I
So when are we
still
watching the holiday special?
well maybe that one. So no, because that's so bad, it's fun. Now, okay, so they released the title for the new Star Wars movie, so we figured this is an opportunity for us to go crazy here.
Yeah.
The Last Jedi, and people went nuts. They were analyzing the fact that it was written in red. Like
That's
that
an evil color.
evil color red.
That's like a Revenge of the Return of the Jedi red.
So I think if we want to go really deep dive on this, what the title means depends on something, and it's very important. Is Jedi singular or plural in this case?
Well, Jedi, as we all know, comes from the original Italian Jedo, so Jedi would be the plural.
Well,
so
hang
yeah.
on though. I mean, I think it's got to be singular because otherwise, then that would mean in other contexts when they use the word Jedi, there are colonies of Jedi.
No, but it's like moose.
Different colonies.
Yeah, it's like
moose.
or
But
fish.
are there different colonies of Jedi? I didn't think.
Well,
there
so
were.
here's the thing that people are pointing to. In the crawl to The Force Awakens, they refer to Luke Skywalker, The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
pretty straightforward, but I think it's one of those titles. Well, first of all, we're not going to. This is just baseless speculation at this point. We know nothing. We haven't even seen one still from the movie yet. It could refer to Luke as the Last Jedi. It could refer to a group of people who will now become the Last Jedi. It could be a last stand. It could be
Well, we assume that Luke is going to train Rey.
Rey.
Well, right, but that's our assumptions. It could go a totally different direction.
After the end of A Force Awakens, of course it's going to go
No,
in that
we don't
direction.
know. He
Come
could
on.
just strike her down. She could be dead. So we don't know. I haven't seen Daisy Ridley doing shit. For all we know, Luke has turned his broke bad, kills her, takes the lightsaber, and comes hunting after Poe Dameron. And then it ends up that John Boyega has to save the galaxy and poor
So that
Daisy
means
Ridley.
that Darth won, and he did turn Luke over to the dark
Yes, we don't
side.
know. She could die in the first scene.
Okay, but we know that's not going to happen.
I don't know. What do we
dark,
know? We know
man.
nothing.
Okay, so
Barring that outcome.
we assume that there's going to, the Last Jedi could be the last group of Jedi if it's the Last Jedi he's training. Because Jedi also, just because you have the Force doesn't make you a Jedi.
No, it's like a religious. It's like a quasi-religious
Yeah,
order.
Leia isn't a Jedi. She just has the Force.
Oh,
Yeah.
But we
She's
never,
force sensitive.
So if Leia
Right.
really worked on it? Could she start like moving?
Well, Leia's not
shit?
going to be doing much
I know.
after episode 8. Sorry to break it to you.
I know, but
Leia ain't going to be working on shit.
but is there?
No.
But, like in theory, would Leia?
Well, it
be
depends
able
on her
to-
midichlorian count.
Oh, fuck you! You're the worst to have this conversation with, Sean.
It depends on how much of the blood disease she has.
Oh God.
Well, what do you think about The Last Jedi?
I think it refers to Luke Skywalker. I think we're going to get some sort of lone samurai type of situation. I think this movie is going to be very influenced by westerns and like specifically like these kind of like lone samurai, lone gunman type movies. I think Luke is going to be the reluctant hero in this one, and Daisy's going to be the one pushing him, and he's going to be rejecting her. That he's kind of put himself in this like psychic trap where he's, has pushed so far against everything that happened in the movies and the way that he trained his nephew, and the nephew, turned into Kylo Ren, that he feels such guilt that he refuses to train anyone else and is just convinced that, he doesn't have what it takes, that he doesn't have the skill, he doesn't have the ability, and that there was something flawed about his incomplete teaching, and that somehow that flawed passed on to his nephew. And then like Daisy's gonna have to basically like bring him back into the light, and he'll probably die at the end.
So you really haven't put much thought to
Not
this
at all, no.
I mean, but honestly, everything you said, I completely kind of agree with.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are... Okay, everything you said is also, I don't want to say basic storytelling beats,
Yeah.
but kind of
Right.
like predictable storytelling beats. So, not that he's going to strike her down in the first scene
Well,
of the movie, but
so that he can remain the last Jedi.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Last, he's like a commenter on a board.
Yeah.
how, like,
But now
Ryan...
the question is she his daughter? Which, does he know this? Does he not? Is she even his daughter? What's the relationship? Is she Ben's twin? I don't know.
Well, is like your instincts of what the story should be are so correct that do you think Rian Johnson, as a filmmaker and a very interesting filmmaker and writer, an original guy, do you think he's going to push against that, or it doesn't matter because the Disney Star Wars money machine is in charge?
Well, it's interesting because we're only focusing on one strand of the characters in the story. We have no idea what is in store for like Kylo Ren, or like
That's
what's
true.
okay. What's
That's true.
What's John Boy like? What's Finn's like further adventures?
Right.
Like we don't know.
Finn was like in a coma when the last
so
movie
we don't know
ended.
where
Right.
it takes him. We don't know what kind of inciting
he come
incidents are going to
over to
happen. No, I don't think
The Order? Or
No.
maybe Finn becomes the last Jedi.
No, because we didn't get really the sense
I
that
don't
he had
think
the.
he's got the Force.
No, I don't think
doesn't
so.
have any
But it's like,
midichlorians.
what do we know about like, we had these great little adventure in Force Awakens, and this is where the bigger conversation gets with this movie is, Force Awakens was like a resetting of the table. It was reintroducing the characters. It was gaining our trust. And it was in many ways like a remake of Star Wars.
Yeah, it
but
was a
now
remake
we're
of
like,
A New
okay,
Hope-
but
A New
now,
Hope, right?
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
what I
but
thought.
now, okay, good, great. You did all that. We saw our Rogue One, which was the kind of.
haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet.
I went to India.
That's right, you were in India.
Yeah.
That's on you,
And I
buddy.
tried to see it. I tried to see it in India, but the lines were like,
So the question
this
is
one
now,
doesn't have to rely on nostalgia.
right,
as
but that's
much.
a question. Is like, so now this is like the first time we're getting something like really original. And what's that movie going to be? I don't think they're going to remake. I don't think it's going to be like a rehash of Empire Strikes Back.
oh, I think it is.
No, I think it's going to. I think in a weird way, it's going to push against Empire. Yeah,
I think what they've done is they've looked at what Stallone has done with the Rocky series. He's like, well, look what this guy did. He just redid Rocky 1 with this black guy, and it was great. Everybody loved it. And look how well we did with Force Awakens. Let's just keep going.
See, I think no. I've always defended Force Awakens when people are like it's too much like the. Well, that's exactly what I wanted. If you're going to simply give me new characters and reestablishing the world, like
did?
Sean said, I did. I love every second of Force Awakens because it is a mix of the new and the old. We have these new characters, these fun new characters, and they set it up in a familiar way, but they set it up in a familiar way so good, it's so well made that it's the part one of this new 3. And I think Sean's right. I think now that they've gained our trust,
and our $1 billion.
that now that they've gained our trust, now they're free to go crazy.
Yeah.
And here's the other reason why they had to gain our trust. Because of the prequels. And even though I said they're not, like, I don't hate the prequels, but they're not great movies.
I know people have been bitching about him for years.
And I think if they didn't
I think
lean
the
on the
worst part about the
familiar,
prequel is prequels are the way the prequels ended, quite frankly.
What happens? We still never quite figure out how Padme dies. They kind of
she
yada.
died of a broken heart.
Well, yeah, because that's
And
the
to
thing.
those who don't believe
What
it's
was wrong?
true,
They couldn't put her in the back to tank. Come on.
hey, let me tell you what. She died of a broken heart, and then her daughter's real-life actress mother died
Well,
of
I'm
a
sure
broken
that's what George
heart.
Lucas had in mind.
Ooh,
So,
that's
okay,
deep.
let's kind of
People die of broken hearts.
What if Jar Jar was the Last Jedi? Okay, so this is not in the notes, but a quick sidebar here. Filming has officially begun on the Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
Which is being
right.
titled on the slates Star Wars Red Cup, Red Solo Cup. And the co-director Chris Miller tweeted out Han first shot with a
Nice,
picture of the
that's
slate.
funny.
I think that
This movie, Episode 8, was called, I think, Space Monkey.
that's a
was
good one.
their fake name.
I like it. So okay, so we got this. We got Episode 8 coming out.
When do we see a first trailer? Are we going to see a first trailer? If it was
gotta
gonna
be soon.
If it was going to be before Beauty and the Beast, we probably would have heard by now.
I think
right?
it's going to be Guardians 2. Comes out in May.
May? Okay.
Yeah. I think Beauty and the Beast because that comes out in March. I mean, still things can happen really fast. So they may give us like a 40-second tease.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna hold the teaser for Guardians, and then what does Disney have like a big movie coming out? What's their Pixar animated film
for this year?
Is Frozen 2 coming out this year?
No. I don't
know.
think so. No, the Pixar movie is, oh my God, it's the
Cars
the Mexican film.
Oh,
The,
Speedy Gonzalez,
No, oh my God.
El Chonchito.
Mexican film, How Do We Get Over This Wall? Mexican film? I don't know.
Oh my God, I'm going
I don't know what it is. Mexican film.
No, it's about the Day of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
And it's Coco.
Oh, okay.
Coco.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Coco's an animal.
But I don't feel like they put the
No,
Star
Coco's
Wars.
a little kid with a guitar that makes the dead rise.
Is he Kubo in the Three Strings?
This is the new Pixar movie?
I
Are
don't
you
know.
serious?
Maybe it doesn't make the dead
This
rise.
is like cool, dark shit.
But it involves like the dead and the guitar, and
And I'm sure Lin-Manuel Miranda's involved somehow.
but they also do have Cars 3.
But that's already November.
goodness.
That's too close to the release. Cars 3 will be their Thanksgiving movie, no?
I thought Cars. Oh my God.
Who knows?
Cars 3, I thought was their summer movie.
Are
I
there
thought
any other
Coco
Marvel
was their
movies coming?
Thanksgiving
Well, they got
movie.
Guardians 2. Are there any other big Marvel movies this year? Thor.
Spider-Man: Homecoming and Thor: Ragnarok.
I don't think Spider-Man's still technically a Sony movie. I don't think they'd put it in front of that. And Thor has always been like a lesser entry.
But we're all kind of in agreement. We're probably going to see the first trailer,
Yeah.
Guardians. Let's face it, we're going to see the
Springtime.
first trailer on our phones.
No, I avoid when they came out with that first teaser when I had to go see Horrible Bosses 2 on the day after Thanksgiving. I knew it had been released.
Had to go see.
Well, I knew it had been
Horrible
released on the internet earlier that day, but I didn't watch it online. I waited to see it in the theaters, and I was not disappointed.
That's
Okay,
pretty cool.
moving on. Okay, so there's a new film out of Dog's Purpose, which sounds like a fucking dog bloodbath. Dogs die about 5 times in the movie.
Yeah. It's a heartwarming tale about a dog and how his spirit passes through all future dogs until eventually he ends
Yeah.
up playing catch with Dennis Quaid.
So you get to watch a dog die a
Yeah.
bunch of times. People love watching dogs. Let me tell you what, that's something that actually always bugs me. I've been to so many movies where people walk out when the dog dies.
Yeah.
But
Really?
But they don't. Well, The Lobster is a great example of
Yeah.
this.
I haven't seen that yet either.
Well, I'm just going to say
Heard.
this doesn't give anything away,
Yeah.
but there is a scene where a woman tries to kill herself. It doesn't work, and she's like twitching on the ground because she threw herself off of a building, and she's like, and it's horrific and it's upsetting.
Yeah.
Everybody's fine with it. Then there is a scene where they talk about,
So nobody gets up and walks out on that.
and then there's a scene where they talk about how they killed the dog, and then you just see a dead dog, and the dog's just, they're dead. And I saw people get up and walk out of the movie, and my whole take on this
This is fascinating.
It's a movie. The dog isn't really dead.
Well, this movie also opens with a woman getting up and shooting a cow in the head.
Well, that was The Lobster, not a Dog's Purpose,
No.
just so people don't get confused.
They're just like, all right, assholes, this shit's real.
But the reason we're talking about A Dog's Purpose is because there was a big controversy.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes footage came out of a trainer like not drowning it, but he was forcing like a Rin Tin Tin German Shepherd dog like into a pool of water.
It was for a scene where the dog like jumps into the river.
The producers claimed it was on account of the camera angle, that the dog was only unhappy for about 40 seconds, but the dog was perfectly fine. PETA reacted, threatened to picket the film. Universal had to cancel the premiere.
Yeah.
Because, this is the ultimate dog lovers movie, so they don't want to, So now...
And they didn't want to answer questions.
Okay, so now here's the thing.
Yeah, but the producers have gone on shows and stuff answering questions about it. And
Yeah, but they didn't want like
Quaid-
Josh Gad have to deal with it.
Josh Gad, who came out against it.
Yeah, and Lasse Hallström, the director.
What did Lasse
Wait.
Hallström say?
He was also upset by it. These were things that was like second unit stuff.
Oh, second
This was
unit.
like second unit stuff. He wasn't there for
Josh
that.
Gad came out against.
He's the voice of the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does he even know what happened?
He just saw the footage.
Because he recorded all his voiceover.
Yeah, but that footage is a doctored video.
Is it?
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't show it just exactly how
Fake
it
news,
happened.
wrong, sad.
It's I'm not saying it's alternate facts or anything like that. I mean, what happened?
from a Russian
what
dog's
happened
life.
But you're
happened.
saying it's a selected moment that doesn't...
Like, there's no
give
context to it.
No context.
And they juiced it. They juiced the video a little bit to make it seem a lot more
What
dramatic.
did they do
than
to juice
was.
it?
Well,
They put Josh Gad's voice over it.
They looped it a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
We should have
Yeah.
probby watched a video before we made this
I
topic.
saw the video, but I guess I didn't...
Well, then, and here's the other thing, right?
I guess it didn't occur to me that I was watching something looped.
But wait, that video was shot a year and a half ago when the movie was made.
Yeah.
And
Right.
oddly enough, it only sees the light of day a couple of days before the
Sounds
premiere.
like a Weinstein smear campaign if I've ever seen one.
That seems kind of strange to me, right? I mean, Dennis
Well-
Quaid made a great point that, like, if somebody was genuinely concerned about the
why didn't
welfare of the dog,
You're right.
Yeah.
why didn't that video go to PETA? Because obviously somebody on
Immediately and then shut down the film.
Immediately
That is a
shut
great
down the
point
film, right?
that Dennis Quaid made, and you.
And the reason why that didn't happen is because there weren't any like widespread issues. It was just one isolated thing that happened with this dog, and they even said, like, I was reading a little bit about this because I'm a dog lover. I mean, I don't know who isn't a dog lover, quite frankly, but I mean, I'm a dog lover, and I'm also fascinated by people's reactions or overreactions to things based upon a 30-second or 40-second
I've spoken to people who are like diehard, like they saw this trailer for this movie and they were crying. They couldn't wait. Like every time they saw the trailer, and they're just diehard dog people. When this came out, they're like, I can't see it anymore. Just knowing that a dog was hurt in the process of making this movie
wasn't hurt.
ruined their entire feelings towards the movie.
Here's my thing, though.
Yeah.
What do they think's happening with animals in movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're constantly put in situations that they wouldn't obviously naturally be in.
Really, you think?
Or they wouldn't be like. And I'm not saying dogs are getting tased and to like act in the movie. We're
Those are just humans.
but we're.
Get in the jacuzzi.
But I mean, no dog's choosing to be in a movie. The dog is.
Dog didn't sign up for acting classes. Dog didn't fall in love with it.
That's a much bigger issue
Well,
as far as how humans treat animals in general.
Well, but
not
that's what I'm
just
saying.
dogs.
I guess I'm just calling hypocrisy on
And
the
I'm not a
people.
vegetarian either.
Well,
but-
have you ever worked with a stage animal on any productions?
let's see. Only that kid.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
Well, we were talking. I mean, again, an actor
Not yet.
friend who may use your service one day was telling us about he worked with a dog on a show, and he said the dog was very much just like. It was
Like a brainwashed animal.
Yeah, it was brainwashed. It just did its thing. It knew it's this thing it had to do.
It was trained.
It was very trained, but like almost to the point where it's taken all joy of it being a dog,
Dog
out.
out.
And he said it was
know?
very upsetting. Like you couldn't touch a
It
dog.
doesn't
You couldn't
go around sniffing butts and
No, you couldn't touch the dog. You couldn't do anything. All the dog did, it just knew how to do the one thing that it was trained to do to get the cookies.
Yeah.
And he said when you would do scenes with the dog didn't give a shit about you. The dog was just a robot looking at the trainer for the cookies. And the dog would do these amazing things, but it was so mechanical and so over-rehearsed and so ingrained in the dog that he felt sad for the dog because the dog didn't have like an existence outside of just doing the things it knows how to do for cookies.
Huh.
And that's it. Like if you think about how much brainwashing literally has to go on to override these animals' natural instincts, and what kind of reward system needs to be put into place. It's not natural.
So
with
is
these animals.
training a dog cruelty to animals?
Well, here's my question. is training a dog any more cruelty to animals than what happens at SeaWorld or what happens at zoos?
My very next question, we talked about the circus 2 weeks ago now.
Thank you very much.
We talked about the circus and about our fond memories of the circus now that the circus
Poor
is
Andy
closing.
Serkis forced to be Gollum for years.
Yeah, what's the difference of making those elephants act in the circus as opposed to making a fucking dog act in a movie?
I don't see any difference.
The bigger
in that,
the
except it
animal, the
seems
more
like-
the emotional attachment we have to it.
You think so?
Not emotional attachment, but no, the bigger we...
It seems wilder and it seems like it shouldn't be tamed.
Right. The bigger the animal, the more we push against the idea of enslaving, taming, training these things.
I don't think anybody really wants to peel the onion back a couple of layers on these institutions that we've created around the world to, basically cage and train animals for our entertainment. That's what we've done.
And that's why I was screaming a little bit of hypocrisy with Sean, your friends who are like, well, now I can't see this movie.
Yeah.
Because,
Why isn't PETA picketing SeaWorld every day?
Well, I think they are.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad, PETA.
I don't know what happened to the dog in Marley and Me. Like, what was his training process? Right?
Yeah.
And
where's the Taco Bell dog?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where is that?
Why don't you talk to your buddies up there at HQ? He's a chalupa now.
In China.
So let me ask you this: are we going to get to the point where, much like
CGI dogs, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, are we going to get to the point where we're just not using real dogs for the same reason why we don't have elephants in the circus anymore?
I think that's taking it too far because I think that what's happened in this case, and I think you do got to take it on a case by case basis. I think if you try to apply like a broad stroke to everything, then a lot gets lost in the
broad
wash.
stroke. That's a real Donald Trump move. Take the same. Don't do what Trump
That is.
Don't do what Trump has done to refugees. To dogs in Hollywood.
To dogs in Hollywood. Like
We will never get Homeward Bound 3.
Could you imagine? Oh, they were abusing those animals.
That was in the 90s.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's like, well, I listen to how this get made, and I talk about like scenes where, like, oh my God, they just threw a dog in a river. Like, what is happening in movies back in the 80s and shit? But look, I saw this movie White God, which is it's Austrian, Hungarian film.
Yeah.
And
Don't besmirch the fine Austrian nation with your your calumnies.
It's this Hungarian film. It's excellent. It's all about these like dogs, and they're like these mutts, and like they're in this society, they don't allow you to own like a mutt.
Yeah.
So all the mutt dogs, and it's supposed to actually be about like kind of an analogy for refugees and stuff. All the mutts kind of band together, and the dogs like just go running through the street and just attacking people and taking over. And there are so many dogs in this movie, and they're all real dogs. And they did this whole Q&A with the woman who trained the dogs at the screening I went to. And by the way, they brought the lead dog she brought with her. I have been to Q&As with George Clooney and Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet.
Yeah.
And I've never seen an audience go crazy like they went crazy for this dog.
the dog.
And I'm like, what is happening?
They're like, Mr. Dog, what is your process?
They were like so excited. There was a Q&A with a dog. But the woman was getting grilled a lot, like, well, that's scene there and this scene there, like of like how you get the dogs to do this, and about how they all were like calling like bullshit, this dog must have been abused somehow. And she kept reassuring. And I'm sure the dogs weren't abused, but I don't know.
But the scenes sound like there was probably some dogs that got hurt.
I bet you some of
way
those
in
dogs that
shooting.
movie didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are we going to get to the point one day, before we move on, that when, that Uggy and the Artist would have been CGI?
Yeah.
Do you think we ever get to that point, Sean?
No.
I hope not, man. I really, really hope not. I hope when we get to the point is we start using some fucking common sense when it comes to stuff like
when Disney
this.
gets around to making their live action reboot of 101 Dalmatians, then we're gonna get a lot of CGI dogs.
I feel bad for the producers of this movie. They're catching a lot of heat for something that's really just gotten blown out.
Yeah, it seems like it has gotten blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
And, I saw the video, and the dog doesn't want to go in the water.
And look,
but,
there
Well,
are a
Lasse
lot of-
Hallström has been through this before. You
There are
remember
a
the
lot of
uproar
angry-
after salmon fishing in the Yemen? Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of angry liberals out there that saw this dog thing as a way to get out some angst and
I guess how
catharsis.
is forcing this dog just to get in this water for this one scene any different than like forcing a dog to take a bath?
None. It's not any different. Except this dog had like 3 handlers all around. They were watching the dog like a hawk. And as soon as they saw trouble, they swooped in and took the dog out. And then they re-angled the shot to put it back to the way it was when the dog was rehearsing it and training it and doing just fine.
And
so that the dog
this
would be good.
dog made bank.
Somebody
got
bang
up.
on that dog. Yeah.
So the other day, we lost another great. Mary Tyler Moore died. She was a legend in the industry.
Yeah.
She was part of 2 classic sitcoms, 2 of the all-time great sitcoms, The Dick Van Dyke Show and The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yeah.
Plus, she was an Oscar-nominated actress for Ordinary People. Imagine my disgust when I ran into about half a dozen people who didn't know who the fuck she was, and they were all goddamn millennials. I was talking to a guy I know shortly after, and he had no clue who Mary was. No clue who's Mary Tyler Moore. Then I was eating lunch, and I heard a table full of youngsters trying to figure out who she was. These idiots thought she was Dick Van Dyke's real-life husband, and they didn't seem too confident to know who Dick Van Dyke was either. She's Mary Tyler fucking Moore. She could turn the world on with her smile. She could take a nothing day and suddenly make it all feel worthwhile. Look, I get that you're young, but guess what? The Mary Tyler Moore Show went off the air before I was fucking born. I know who she was because I live in a goddamn world. Without Mary, you wouldn't have your Tina Feys and your Amy Poehler's starring in sitcoms. She paved the way. And that's why you, millennials who don't know your pop culture history or this week's Enemy of the Podcast, go fuck yourselves. How come I knew this shit when I was young? I didn't even have the internet. We didn't have the internet, and I knew all this crap. I knew shit about shit that people today who have access to all the knowledge of the world don't know.
Okay, but the reason why, and look, I'm not backing the millennials on it. I swear to all of you.
How did you never hear the Mary Tyler Moore Show?
The reason why you and the 3 of us knew about Mary Tyler Moore and Dick Van Dyke and other shows and movies that took place before we were even born is I think in part because we didn't have the internet. All we had was what was shown on those 3 channels on that little box and the few movies that came out in the movie theaters. We didn't have anything else to distract us. Right now, you just said it yourself. You have got the World Wide Web, which gives you access to all any information that's out there, right?
Yeah.
But just because you have access to the information doesn't mean that you can process and consume the information.
I think we were forced to get out of our comfort zones and learn things in the outside world where now you can put yourself in a bubble. The internet ruins everything. If the internet didn't exist, Donald Trump wouldn't be president.
That is a fact. That is
So
absolutely a fact.
I have to admit something. I have never to this day seen an episode of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I've never seen an episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh, really?
You're going to kill Sean?
I didn't know who Dick Van Dyke for me was just the guy from Mary Poppins for years.
Okay.
I didn't even know who Mary Tyler Moore was. No one ever showed me the show. I'd never seen it.
But you knew
I knew
of
the name and that was it.
But you knew of the existence. You knew the Mary Tyler Moore was a show.
Right. I didn't know anything about the theme song.
But when did you learn this stuff?
Late 20s.
Oh, so like in the time that
I saw
knew
Mary
you?
Tyler
What
Moore
happened?
and I stumbled across. I'm like, oh, she's hot. And
Like
then I
on
went
the
back and looked at like, I didn't even know.
All
What
of
do you
us.
mean?
like-
No one ever showed it to me.
Googled
Yeah,
hot
I mean, I'd
girls
seen
from the
Ordinary
60s
People.
and
I knew
70s.
like Mary Tyler Moore was in that movie, and I'd seen it, but I didn't connect it to the show. I didn't know Ed Asner was in the show until she died, and they were talking about it.
Wow.
No one ever showed me.
How
Mary-
did you not know this shit?
Why did I ever have to seek it out? It just never came on my radar.
That's true. Why did he? And
I saw a lot
the
of
other
Brady Bunch.
thing is-
Like growing up, I would see I saw Brady
your
Bunch
parents never
and
watched
Gilligan's
it, right?
Island, but that was just because it was like on TV on the afternoon. But I never saw Mary Tyler Moore. I never saw a Dick Van Dyke Show. I knew he would like come in, and he took his hat off and he was like in advertising.
And there was the ottoman he would trip over, but sometimes he'd walk around.
So on like Nick at Night, I would see Bewitched. I would see tons of I Love Lucy. I would see I Dream of Jeannie. Just
But
those shows never. Same reason I never saw Taxi or Cheers. I don't know.
So
or
your
MASH.
parents never watched those shows?
No, never.
Reruns of those shows?
Okay, but
Mine did.
Let me say this, though. You're also naming things that you did watch that I'm willing to bet that these same millennials don't know.
Right, but I just, for some weird reason, I had this massive hole when it came to like certain shows.
You know what's interesting, though? Like,
Still never seen an episode of MASH.
You've
never seen an episode of MASH?
I've
That's
seen the movie
show of all
3
time.
times.
I've never seen the movie.
Oh, the movie's great. We should do. I will show you the movie. You show him the show.
Oh, yeah.
Just the final episode, though.
Oh, no.
And the really late episodes with Alan Alda gets real preachy.
But here's the thing: you never watched MASH, but you have an awareness that Alan Alda was in a show called MASH,
And I only
you know
discovered
it's about.
Alan Alda later from like other stuff he did, and then realized like I kind of had to retcon it all and realize, oh, this is how he became famous.
Okay, but you know what? Like,
But you've got an inquisitive
I knew Danny
mind and
DeVito
you
from
dig
like
into
Twins,
stuff.
you know.
but did you have an awareness that there was a show Taxi was on? You just never watched it.
Vaguely, it was like I got older that
Because
it
that's
kind
what I'm
of.
saying. Like, I've never watched.
I didn't really, honestly, I didn't even think about it or knew anything about it till I saw the Man in the Moon, the Andy Kaufman movie.
You know, I've never watched a single episode of the Brady Bunch.
Oh, I've seen so many of them.
And let me tell you what, though. I know exactly who the characters are. I know the dynamics. I know everything about it. I've never watched it.
Well, why is it that you know that much about it and haven't ever seen it? You just Googled it?
No, it's just stuff that I feel like...
saw the movie.
No, I just think there's some
God.
stuff that's out there in the culture that just kind of seeps in.
So when I refer to the Tiki
Yeah.
statue, you don't know what I'm talking about.
What was
They
that?
go to Hawaii. You don't know about the statue.
I knew they went to Hawaii.
Yeah, they got the statue. Put a curse on them. Wasn't good.
But you know what? It's like there is certain things
Like I
that I
watched
just...
Full House and Family Matters and Saved by the Bell. Those are like the shows I grew up on, like Step by Step. Those were all
Yeah,
the shows.
I watched those too.
Yeah, but I didn't watch the old stuff. Fuck that. Some of it's in black and white. You crazy? Am I a maniac?
I used to watch other... Well, okay, let's briefly, though. Let's get off of this and talk about just quick Mary Tyler Moore. Well, you have no thoughts on her legacy because...
She was hot.
You know what's so funny that you say that? It's like... There's so many things, and I don't know if this is terrible or not, that I found myself like, oh, that woman's attractive. Let me listen to the song she sang.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I find myself like, I've just listened to an entire Lily Allen album. And it's like, I guess I like her. And it's because I thought she was cute. Like, you know, it's weird. Anyway. It's weird how we come
I've
to
had
things.
that exact same thought. I've had that because, like, at the gym, they're showing, they show all these music videos all the time, and like, I'm like, why is it? Eddie Murphy does a great joke about this, but why is it that every singer, male or female, is freaking attractive, man? Like, what happens? Like, at a certain age, like these kids. Like, their parents are like, ooh, you know what? Our kids are good looking. We should get them into the music industry. I never see an unattractive man or woman coming up in these music videos.
Well, that's part of why they're famous.
I guess so.
It's like that perfect mixture.
But like that's happened to me a lot with music where I'm like, oh, that girl's cute. Let me listen to her music. And then sometimes it takes and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I will admit, in a shallow way, I was like, oh, look, that girl looks cute. Let me hear what her song is. And if that girl hadn't been cute,
I hear
wouldn't
that there
have
are some
listened.
Mary Tyler Moores on the internet, so I may have to check some of them out.
But anyway, let's get back to Mary Tyler Moore. Were you a fan of the Mary Tyler Moore show?
Yeah.
Yeah, great show.
Yeah.
And the Dick Van Dyke show was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, look, to your point.
I've seen a lot of Leave It to Beavers and Mr. Ed's.
Are you gonna go? I love
that's
Mr. Ed.
shit.
Yeah, but they put peanut butter in his mouth so he talk.
Look, I mean, I say that shit because, to your point, Will, shows like the Mary Tyler Moore show and the Dick Van Dyke show, they kind of paved the way for shows like Cheers, like shows that I really grew up on, that I just like, really classic, awesome comedies that,
I think what we got to say with Mary Tyler Moore, like she was a true original. She was the first woman out there really as like this working single woman. Like before the women who led sitcoms.
Like Murphy Brown.
Wait, she wasn't before Lucille Ball, though.
No, Lucille Ball was married.
Oh,
that show was still very like
because I was gonna say like,
and they slept in separate beds.
Yes,
Like,
Lucy was like she was in this relationship. Donna Reed, and these are really great shows. But then Mary Tyler Moore was like
She
this
didn't
kind
break
of,
the mold.
There was like a feminist angle to it that you didn't really have before.
And a beret.
She wore pants, not skirts all the time.
Yeah. Well, she did that on Dick Van Dyke also.
Yes.
And that was a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, did she do it on Dick Van Dyke? I thought she only started doing that on the Mary Tyler Moore.
No, she wore pants on Dick Van Dyke as well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because they were, super conservative about that
So
stuff.
we used to watch Three's Company. Never understood the premise very well. Was 2 years later I figured out what that was. Well, that hubbub was all about.
So Mary Tyler Moore, like, I feel like and we have so many female-led sitcoms today.
Yeah.
I feel like they all owe Mary Tyler Moore a debt of gratitude.
New Girl, yeah.
Also,
Project,
I just wanted to throw this in. John Hurt also died. I thought 2017 was we were taking a break from death. You didn't hear about John Hurt?
No.
John Hurt's dead.
When did this happen?
Last week.
Well,
Oh my!
It happened.
See, here's the thing: I cannot freaking keep up, man. Like, I feel like a bad citizen when I actually spend a whole day working and not getting online and find out what that moron is doing in DC. Right?
John Hurt, the great actor, you remember him? He was in Alien.
Yes.
He's in the
1984.
1984, and V for Vendetta.
Elephant Man.
Elephant Man is probably his. I mean, that he earned an Oscar nomination for.
Oh, and what about the Albert Brooks Holly Hunter movie, Broadcast News?
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
No, that's
John.
it's William Hurt.
that's William.
This is the issue that I had. as
Oh
well.
shit! You thought William Hurt was dead?
John Hurt. Yes, I just thought you said that William Hurt was dead.
No, it's John Hurt.
So,
Attention all
Jalil, what did I
podcast
text
listeners.
you when John Hurt
I
died?
am
When
an idiot.
John Hurt died, Sean said at least now he won't get him confused with William Hurt anymore.
For idiots like myself.
Well, John Hurt was more of the great British.
204 credits.
He was the great.
He was in Jackie. Yeah.
British character actor. Yeah, I just saw him in Jackie recently. In recent years, I loved him in Snowpiercer
That's right.
as well. He was
Okay,
fantastic
okay.
in that. But, in Alien, he's the guy who the alien pops out of his chest.
Spoiler
Yes.
alert.
In The Elephant Man, it was John Merrick, and he was nominated for an Oscar.
Under tons of prosthetic makeup that he had to wear.
Yeah,
in that
a
movie.
great part. I just think he always brought... and part of this is just the way he looked, because he always kind of looked a little... older, I guess. But I
Yeah.
felt like they always brought like a history and a gravity to everyone he played.
Well, he brought so much gravity, they brought him back in Spaceballs to reprise his role from Alien.
And yes.
And he was credited as John Hurt in Spaceballs.
And the alien rips open his chest again
We're looking at it right here.
in Spaceballs. And, and also speaking of gravity, he was in Contact.
Yeah, he was,
And he
but-
was flying in and out of space in that
But let's
one.
not forget his finest role, which was as Professor Oxley in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
It's so funny because I read a whole bunch of, bios when it was done. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big movie. And none of them...
Nobody, right?
No one referenced Crystal Skull. The movie.
He's also one of my favorite movies of all time, Perfume, The Story of a Murder, directed by Tom Tykwer. He plays the narrator in that. He does an amazing job. Also the narrator in the Tigger movie. So, we needed a gravelly voice full of authority. You go to John Hurt.
Authority.
Yeah.
So, we always like to end on an odd note, a weird note, and this is a weird one.
These fuckers.
There is a growing community of mer people in Seattle. Mer people.
What?
They build silicone tails and go swim in pools and the ocean with
my
their silicone
God.
tails. Some of these people have quit their job to be full-time mer people. What is this shit? This was almost the enemy of the podcast.
Yeah, this woman took a year just building her silicone, foil tail.
Holy shit. Seriously, what size population are we talking? Please tell me it's
from the little
under
video we
100.
saw online, there was 3 people in Seattle.
But still,
goodness.
it's a growing community. Because now I will be like, well, I want to.
And because of the internet, once again, mer people can find mer people, and now next thing we know, we're going to need mer bathrooms.
No, oh god, oh my god. And then they're going to be Oscar categories
Yeah,
for
mer Americans.
mer films.
Oh my god!
Americans.
Here's the plus side, though. Once these people decide to live in the ocean, they'll all just drown and die.
Drown.
Like a dog and a dog's purpose.
And on that note,
God.
Ravi,
Yes.
thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. It was really a lot of fun.
Before we go, one more time, tell the people where they can find out everything about you.
About me acting wise, IMDb is probably the best source. You just look up my name, Ravi Naidu, Naidu. I'm the first one that pops up. Website is Ravi Naidu Actor. Same for Twitter and Instagram. And I have a great taping service called Lights, Camera, Action at lcaudition.com.
Use that service.
Now, is there anything other than the aforementioned Curb episode that you can't discuss? Anything else we should keep an eye out for you?
That's the next one that's coming out. NCIS already came out in January. While I was flying back from India, which was kind of fun. So I landed and had all these text messages.
Nice.
It was really cool. The
You got, that many people who watch NCIS?
45 million people watch that show.
Yeah, but do you know any of them?
I do now.
Old people.
I didn't know.
Trump supporters.
That's not true. It's not all. It's not all.
I would have, if I knew you were on the episode, I would have tuned in to see it. I've tuned into single episodes of shows to see people. But
you're not going back to episode 1.
Yeah, I'm not going to, if you suddenly got cast on NCIS now, I wouldn't be like, well, now I got to watch
I got to watch it every
A lot of Navy crime.
And you know what? In all honesty, if I got cast as a series regular on NCIS, I wouldn't give a shit if you didn't do it.
Well, let me tell you what. If you got cast on a brand new show that wouldn't involve me having to start, I would jump right in.
There you go.
Keep us, and if you do, come back on the show and tell us.
Without a doubt. Absolutely.
You can find me on all forms of social media at the Sean David. So go ahead and follow me there.
You can follow me at Twitter at...
Just getting back to me for silence.
Apparently.
The Real Will Link. I'm going to be on a Drunk Monkeys radio podcast talking film, so that'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be doing a show in April. I'm going to be doing Megan Hayes' Tales from Tinseltown in April. I've been submitting for some more shows. I'm trying to get back out there, people. If you want to read something I wrote, you could always, there's still that book I was published in, Damn It, I Love You. There's my essay, Young Ladies, that you could read in that book. And hopefully maybe I'll have an actual book published at some point. Yeah, I don't know how that works. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
On the show next week, the aforementioned Stephen Brandon. He, the creator of Game of Thrones, the musical. You may also remember him from Lost, the musical. You also may remember him from all our Emmy episodes.
And Dating Naked.
And he was on the show Dating Naked.
Oh.
He dated naked. He's going to come by...
With one of the actors from the show.
Yeah, I don't know why I said it like that.
That's how you spell.
He's gonna come by with one of the actors from the show. I believe the actor who plays Robb Stark. So we're gonna find out about that. And the week after that, it is the episode you wait for every year. It's me and Sean gonna tell you who's gonna win the Oscars. This episode will be released a week before the Oscars, just in time to your Oscar pools. You want to know who's gonna win?
You listen to us.
Or
That's
just
called spoiler alert episode.
Or just pick La La Land for everything.
Oh, there you go.
Even Best Actress. I'm sorry, Best Actor.
You know what? No, but and we'll get into why. But if you picked La La Land for everything, at the end of the night, you do pretty well in your Oscar pool, even if you got a lot wrong. But we'll get into that in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So just go chalk, people.
Yeah.
And on that note, Ravi, thank you
Thank you.
for the Will Sean podcast. I'm Sean David.
I'm willing.
And we're finished.
We're finished.